半数が死んだ。もっと強ければ。
What's up guys, the Red Cloak here, and today I'll be talking about somebody who I think has been treated unfairly in this community of Black Clover. And this is going to be kind of a debunking video, but kind of an analysis on Yuno's real character that people forget to see. Because I've been seeing that there's a lot of Yuno slander out there, and I know that Yuno is not the best written character in Black Clover, but he still deserves some prop. Today I'll be going into chronological order about Yuno, and anything that I see that I've saw criticism on, I will talk about it. But I'll also try to give new insight on his character. So if you learned something and you appreciate Yuno more, subscribe. And if you haven't learned anything new and you already loved Yuno, well, subscribe again, so it doesn't really matter. Just a little sign on, I won't be getting to the Spade section of Yuno being a baby. That can be talked about once Yuno meets Denon and versus him. So let's go into Yuno's childhood in Hodge Village with Asta. Only a few things I see people talking about Kid Yuno is that he cries a lot and that he didn't work hard for his strength. For the crying a lot, I feel like people who say that are pretty stupid. That's like me asking a baby, why are you crying? That's kind of dumb. Most of the times when I hear Yuno doesn't work for his strength, I start laughing. Yuno, just because he's a royal, and just because he has the wind spirit, and just because he has a 4-leaf, it doesn't mean he doesn't train hard. He needs something to build off that strength. He has trained hard his physical body. That's why he ranked number 10 in the top 11 strongest characters in Black Clover without magic, just their physical strength. He was above Magna, and we know Magna is that guy. People will just complain and just say, yeah, Yuno doesn't work hard for his strength, that's why they like Asta. Hey, look, if you like Asta because he works hard and he's a great motivator, go ahead, I don't care. But you can't just blatantly just say Yuno doesn't work hard for his strengths, because he really does. It's stated multiple times that he does. Now, trying to defend Yuno for being a jerk to Asta is kind of weird, but I think I have a solid theory that is 60% that I think is right and 40% that I think is wrong, but you don't have to believe me, because I really think that Yuno was only being mean to Asta to push him further, so Asta could get pushed further and get his grimoire. And you guys may be asking, what makes you think this? Why would Yuno blatantly make fun of Asta and do this stuff just for him to tell him against Revechi that he is strong and that he believes in him? Like, why would he double back on his stance, making fun of him, and just going saying, like, hey, you are strong, I believe in you? It must have been a motivator for Asta, so Asta keep on pushing forward. Because if we're being real, no one really believed in Asta besides Yuno. It was so pivotal to Asta's story, because if Asta gave up right there, and if Yuno wasn't there, who was going to tell Asta that he could do it? Who was going to tell Asta that they believe in him? No one was there to tell him that besides Yuno, his brother, his rival. Yuno is pivotal for Asta's character because Asta keeps on pushing forward because of Yuno. They keep pushing each other to higher length. Or Yuno, I don't think you can hate on him for being in the exams because he just did his thing. Unless you hate the fact that he's existing, then yeah, I don't know how to defend. Now for this section, I want to clear up a misconception about Yuno and Asta. Everyone kept on saying just because Yuno was in the best squad in the Clover Kingdom, he had the most easiest time. And I'm going to say this now, Yuno being the best squad doesn't mean he had the easiest time. If I'm being honest, it just means Asta had the easiest time, because Asta was a loser. He was just like the Black Bulls. The Black Bulls were losers. Asta could gravitate with these guys. Yuno, yeah, he was strong, but the Gondans didn't respect him. They thought he was useless. They thought he was nothing but subpar at best. He didn't really have any friends in the Going Down besides Klaus and Mimosa, and you can argue William because William was being nice to him. By the time Asta was in the Black Bulls, he already made so many friends, they already accepted him. But since the Going Down had a lot of uptight nobles and royals, they didn't want to accept Yuno because they couldn't stand a commoner being in the ranks of the #1 squad in the Clover Kingdom. And that's what happens with Yuno's character development, or should I say the Golden Dawn's character development, finally accepting Yuno for who he is, but I'll get into that very, very soon. Now, I want to talk about Yuno's personality real quick, because people get this wrong, because people actually think he doesn't have a personality, but they're completely wrong. What if I told you guys that Yuno doesn't interact with the Golden Dawn because he doesn't feel like he needs to? He spent most of his life in Hodge Village in the Forsaken Realm, and if you're telling somebody who's been at home for a very long time to go out into a new place and try to make some friends, it's gonna be hard. So Yuno's gonna be awkward with the Going Dawn. It's even stated in the canon filler episode when Longer said that Yuno is awkward. Yuno doesn't need to go talk to the Going Dawn because they haven't accepted him yet. He doesn't need to go try to befriend them because that's not his character. He's supposed to be the antithesis to Asta. Asta's outgoing and wants to make friends, while Yuno is trying to keep quiet and stick to his dreams, and going to the little circle that he has with Klaus, Mimosa, and William. We see Yuno and Asta with their personalities, or Yuno with his personality with Hodge Village. His personality flourishes. He smiles, makes jokes about Asta, and he doesn't show this to the Golden Dawn because the Golden Dawn aren't his family yet. He doesn't know the Golden Dawn like that, and he never wants to know them right now because he sees them as people who are just stuck up. It's sad to see Yuno haters gloss over this because they're letting Yuno live rent-free in their head and not seeing the greater picture to his character. And again, you don't have to agree with me, but still, you have to know this is prevalent. He doesn't need to show the Golden Dawn his personality. Now, done with talking with Yuno joining the Golden Dawn, we finally actually get to an arc, which is the dungeon arc. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that Yuno always respected Asta, so I don't really think I need to defend that unless you're a weirdo and think Yuno never respected Asta. Then I don't know what to tell you. You might as well just have to read Black Clover with your eyes open this time. Now, we know that Yuno is best friends with Mimosa and Klaus, and he only really talks to them because they're the only people in the Golden Dawn that really accepted him. And when Klaus tells Yuno to go on ahead so they can get the treasure and get the mission done, Yuno refuses because, again, Yuno sees Klaus as his best friend and family. Going back to their ideology as kids, it's them saying that no matter who they're friends with, they're going to be a part of their family and they're going to protect them till the end. And that's what the ideology Yuno is holding right now. He's not going to let Klaus die because he's family. I won't be talking about the Yuno losing situation because I do think some people want him to lose and get back up and continue pushing forward and to change as a person and have a different sense of goal in his life. I do think that some people want that, and there's other people who think that he just doesn't lose. That's pretty dumb because he loses to Mars right here. I don't really want to talk about this arc for very long because I think it's self-explanatory. They fight Mars, they win, Yuno gets the wind spirit, but he doesn't get the full access to the wind spirit. I think that's pretty obvious if you read Black Clover or watched it. Get to Yuno versus Catherine because most of the beginning of the Capital Invasion, we already know Yuno's character. Yuno defends Asta against his own squad mate, which is Alcdora, so we don't really need to talk about that. But what we do need to talk about is how he gets the wind spirit. I think Yuno telling us that he's been working hard, well, not really telling us, saying in his mind that he's been working hard, that he's been trying to activate this wind spirit, but it's just not going on command because he doesn't know how to. We see Yuno struggle for once. Yuno struggling because he's about to die against Catherine. I want to talk about the gist of Yuno gets everything handed to him. This was not handed to him. He needed to work to find a way to activate the wind spirit, and it happened in a life or death situation. Yuno did not work. It's hard work plus talent. Yuno did something with that talent. He didn't just sit around and wait for something to happen. Yes, you can argue that Asta is more of a hard worker, but Yuno is a hard worker as well. Maybe you can say not as much as Asta, but Yuno is up there as a hard worker. We get to see Yuno for a very, very long time, but now we've seen that Yuno has grown. His wind spirit has grown, and he has grown exponentially. But he still holds that awkwardness and shyness and not being obligated to talk to the Golden Dawn, because again, they're not really his family yet, but they're still his teammates. And we see Yuno reach new heights. And when Yuno comments on Asta's broken arm, Yuno just knows that Asta's going to bounce back. And for the people who are saying that Yuno doesn't have a personality, but his personality is shown and blossoms when he's with Asta because Asta's his childhood friend. Of course, his personality is going to mainly show. He's not going to show it to people who don't like him or people he doesn't know. Yuno's not supposed to be the guy to push the Golden Dawn and push them to like him. No, he's the guy who's going to push Asta to be better. He's the guy who's going to be calm, cool, and collective and doesn't really care what anyone says, only about his dream. It's sad because people try to label Yuno to something he's not. That's not how he was written. He's not supposed to be written as this guy who's gonna go out and make some friends and make some friends with the Golden Dawns. No, that is not his character right now. He isn't gonna do that. As long as it's trash talking Asta, Yuno goes out and defends Asta, saying that he's proud that Asta is what he is and that Asta is his rival. And Longus tells him that he needs to make better friends, but Yuno does not care because Asta is his longtime buddy, so he's not gonna back down from this. Let's skip to the tournament arc because I think most of Yuno's character in the Star Wars Festival and the Volcanic Hot Spring arc is pretty much self-explanatory. Versus Alcdora, Yuno is fighting Alcdora, somebody who hates Yuno, hates commoners, just like Yuno, and hates Yuno's cockiness. Yuno's easily able to beat him, and Yuno tells him that he doesn't care about William's dream. He only cares about his own dream. Yes, he is friends with William, but his dream is not his own. That is what Yuno is saying to Alcdora. He carries his own dream. And Alcdora is completely broken by this because Alcdora hates Yuno. We don't see any of this happen to Asta in his own squad because everyone in his own squad already likes him. They already accept him. And they're just like Asta. Now this is going to happen. But this happens to Yuno because the Golden Dawn think they're the best. And they think that this commoner being their clan or being their brigade is not going to cut it. Now, for Yuno's spirit dive form, People say that this was handed to him, but Julius even stated it was because of his hard work and effort. Also, I can understand that Yuno not being shown training is not really Yuno's fault, because that's kind of Tabata's fault for not giving us enough Yuno screen time in an arc with Yuno by himself. I've actually seen people complain about Yuno's spirit dive form, saying it's exactly like Asta's. So I just think people are just pretty stupid that don't understand the parallels between Asta and Yuno. Asta's form is more grotesque, more ugly, more distorted, while Yuno's is beautiful, it's more peaceful, it's more of a calm mind. Always been a parallel to Yuno and Asta. Asta is supposed to be the hard-working guy, the one that was not blessed, while Yuno is hardworking, but he was blessed. He was blessed with hard work and talent and great magic in the four-leaf.
Oh guys, look, Dante has a different ideology than Asta. I guess he's a copy then.
If you guys always want, I can always make a Dante character analysis video, because I really think he's very, very underrated. I think the whole elf fiasco basically pushes the Yuno hate up a ton, because once Yuno got, Lick's son inside him and sword magic able to create Spirit of Zephyr, everyone just got pissed. Everyone didn't really get pissed, but I do think that people thought that Yuno isn't really that much of a hard worker. And I will say this, him having these powers doesn't matter. If Yuno just stood around and did nothing, maybe, these powers wouldn't be as effective as he used them in the elf arc. Yuno worked hard to increase these powers. Yes, he was blessed, but he increased these powers by working hard for the blessing. Now in the Spade Arc, we know that Yuno is the prince of the Spade Nation, and we know that the Dark Triad took everything from him before he even got a chance to even have any of these stuff, forcing him to be a commoner in the Forsaken realm of the Clover Kingdom. But before we talk about that, we should talk about episode 141, the Golden Family. Yuno is finally with the Golden Dawn again. We actually get to see him with them, but he's only with Klaus and Mosa because they're his only friends of the Golden Dawn, the people that accepted him. The Golden Dawn still harbor hatred for Yuno because, again, he's a commoner who is pushing up the ranks very, very quickly. William's character development is just underrated and people just don't get it. And William just trying to get them to get along, so he makes Algdor the leader of a mission. And let's go really smoothly. Algdor and Yuno clash heads. He has a different plan than Algdor, so he does a different plan with Mimosa and Klaus, and they get it done. And so is Algdor and his squad, but Algdor is still mad that Yuno's trying to upfront him, and Yuno's trying to get one step ahead of him. And William just calls him back, because William's whole plan is to get everyone to finally accept Yuno, because he can see that Longress is changing as well. I'm not going to give you guys a full summary of the episode, but I'm just going to say go watch for yourself. It's very beautiful, and it's good for the Golden Dawn's character development for people who think that they don't have it. We actually find out that the Golden Dawn haven't really invited Yuno to go out with them anywhere, and it just seems like when they do, Yuno either stays in the Golden Dawn base or just goes in his room. It just shows that Yuno's time with the Golden Dawn wasn't easy. It wasn't as easy as Asta. He wasn't able to charm them to being his friends. Yuno just stayed quiet and stayed to himself because he didn't feel like he needed to talk to them because they weren't nice. The episode ends with Yuno getting a flashback with him and Asta saying that whoever they meet and whoever their friends are, they're going to make them their permanent family and they're going to treat them like it. And Yuno is finally getting that feeling with the Golden Dawn because they're finally accepting him for who he is. Look, you don't gotta like the Golden Dawn, but you have to agree, this character development for them is very beautiful, and it's probably one of the best group developments in this series. The anime did it very well and very subtly. It showed that the Golden Dawn really can change from their habits. But we know this doesn't last with the Golden Dawn because the Golden Dawn get massacred by Xenon and his Dark Disciples. And I'm going to defend Yuno's loss here because people are kind of hypocrites because they say that they want Yuno to lose and that he always wins, but when Yuno loses brutally against Xenon, everyone makes fun of him and says, haha, he always loses the Golden Dawn. And I just think that's kind of stupid and it's kind of sad for the people who said that they want him to lose a little bit more so they can see somebody get pushed to the wall and somebody that can rise up again. Yuno comes back to the Golden Dawn base with everyone massacred. They stood no chance against the Dark Disciples. And this is symbolic because Yuno has just became friends with these guys. He saw them as a family, but they're now gone because Yuno was not here on time and he was dealing with his own family matters, knowing that he is now the prince of the Spade Kingdom, well, former prince. We've seen his deep connection with the Golden Dawn in the episodes, and now him screaming out, seeing Klaus and Letele get injured like that, and him charging at Xenon without a second thought in the world. The reason I'm defending him for this, because he didn't have Yami, he didn't have Lord Fashiku who had a plan on Vonica, he didn't have somebody to team up with. He didn't have that. He had to fight on his own. Not only that, he was going through his own mental issues, knowing that he was not who he really was, that his identity was stripped away from him. We have Xenon, somebody who had a part of basically destroying his family and home, coming back to destroy his other family and home. And the real reason why Yuno's screaming up in the air, because he wasn't strong enough to protect this family, the family that he's grown to love and want to protect. He is their vice captain for a reason, and he felt like he was weak during this situation. People actually get mad that Yuno said that the Golden Dawn are the strongest squad in the Clover Kingdom, but I'm not really mad at it, even though it could clearly be wrong, which it is, but it's not to him or the public. The public sees as the best squad being the strongest, and Yuno sees that as well. Seeing that they're the best and that they have the most stars, he sees them as the strongest. He hasn't seen the Black Bulls in action a lot, so he just seems that, hey, the Golden Dawn must be the strongest. And just sad to see that the Yuno slander, the people who slander him, want him to open up more, which he does in this captain's meeting, but they yet make fun of him for opening up. It's basically a lose-lose for Yuno, because he's doing his best, opening up as a character, opening up to the captain saying that he's going to be the one to save William, and stating that the Golden Dawn are the strongest squad in the Clover Kingdom. And I just feel bad because Yuno as a character is very good. Yes, he's not the best written, but he's still very good. He's at least my top 5 character in Black Clover. And time for the last one is that Yuno getting Spirit of Boys was an asshole. Okay, I'm gonna say this right now. We already saw that Belle was gathering up mana, gathering both her and Yuno's mana, and we saw Yuno train trying to gain a strategy to beat Zenon, his absolute space, and his bone magic. I'm not saying you guys can't criticize it, but you guys are the same people who are hyping up Charlotte's form and Jack's form. So y'all can't even let Yuno get his own kind of shine. And when Yuno hit Zenon, everyone was just saying, Zenon go 55% or 70% just beat Yuno, which we have now noticed that is wrong. Then it's the same people who see Berserk Asa scratch Dante, everyone's like, let's go king, let's go king. But when Yuno gets a clean hit on Zenon, everyone's like, oh, Zenon's about to clap him, it doesn't matter. Then it just shows that Yuno is clapping Zenon, even in 70%. People are just saying, yeah, Zenon's the weakest of the Dark Triad. This doesn't count. You guys are the same people who thought that Zenon was the strongest of the Triad. Well, what happened to that? Did he just go below because he's losing to Yuno? Like, I don't get it. So what I'm getting at here is when Yuno beats up somebody, I guess they're now weak. That doesn't make any sense because you guys were the same people who were hyping up Zenon to being the strongest of the Triad. You can argue that he is, but it's clear that you guys only said that because he was losing to Yuno. Yuno is a top dog in himself. For people who dislike Yuno, comment down below what you guys don't like about him. I could probably debunk it, or I could probably just try to give you guys new light. But if you guys did dislike Yuno, this video showed you that he's actually an amazing character and actually has a personality, then damn, subscribe. I'm probably going to do more about this for Black Clover characters, My Academia, and Jujutsu Kaisen, so stay tuned. But that is it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. I really did like it myself, so I'm going to head up out of here, guys. Peace out, guys, and I'm out. Peace.